Okay, happy Friday. I'm going to get started. So this is Facebook Ad Friday, where you get to see how I set up the Facebook ad for the Market Center for the week. So as always, how to get started with Facebook ads. Just make sure your social medias are connected to your command. You can do that if you're in command. You can drop down into your settings. And then you can connect things like Facebook, Twitter, or Instagram. Those are your options for doing the ads. I just always say Facebook ads because that's kind of what I tend to run. Create a Facebook business page if you do not already have one. So this isn't a Keller Williams thing. This goes for all of Facebook. You do have to have a business profile in order to run an ad. You cannot do one on a personal profile. So setting one up is pretty easy. Just, if you need some help, you can really just look up how to create a Facebook business page and just go from there. It's super easy. You need to think about where you want the ad to take the consumer. So whether that be your website, your app download link. Today I'm doing one on a listing. So you can create a landing page if you want, which I'm going to do. It's pretty simple. I find get the best results with the ads when I'm doing one on a listing. So even if you don't currently have any listings, ask another agent in our market center, and most of the time they're okay if you borrow one of their listings. Then you need to think about your goal. So what are you creating the ad for? Do you want to get leads, or are you trying to get this in front of as many people as possible? There is a difference when it comes time to building out the ad. There's just one little question that makes that difference. So are you trying to get leads, or are you, advertising something? Say you're doing something for an open house where you might just want to get it in front of people, then kind of think about that ahead of time. But to get started, since I have to create a landing page, right now I am in command. So I'm going to start out, your landing pages are found within your consumer applet. So this is where things like your agent website, so you have your agent site pages, where you can see your default agent site. You can use this as your click-through link if you want, but I am going to switch over to landing pages. I'm actually going to toggle that one off because that one was from an ad I did previously. But I am going to hit create a new page. And you do have the option of it on your agent site or as a landing page. The only difference is if somebody comes to your agent site, they're going to be able to see it as an option. But as a landing page, they have to have the direct link in order to get there. So since, I'm not an agent, I just run these for the market center. My agent site, I do have one, but it is a hot mess. It is just for, training purposes. So I'm going to do this as a landing page just so they have to have a direct URL in order to get there. So I'm going to choose that and hit create page. And now on the left side, so this is what my page is going to look like when I build it out. I have to utilize these widgets over here in order to customize this page. So first off, I'm just going to edit. Let me get out of this. I always cheat. I have kind of my ad built out ahead of time. I'm just going to copy the address and make that the landing page name, just so I know. I always use the same template when it comes to doing a landing page for a listing. So if you want to follow the way that I do it, I always start with a branded header. You just choose whichever widget you want until it turns blue and drag it over until you get that green line, which is going to show you where it's going to place. And I drop it. I do a listing, so I'm going to drag it and drop it. And then I'm going to scroll down because I want everything else to be under this big listing widget. I always give them the option to have a lead form. So this way, if they need to, leave me a comment or leave any further information, they have a chance to do so on this page. And then I always finish with a legal footer. So I'm going to drag and put it all the way down here. So my template is built out. I realize it is not customized, but we are getting to that point. So you do need to add in all of your widgets, drag and drop whatever you want, and kind of finagle with this over here until you're happy with the way that it looks. When you are ready to customize and all of your widgets are there, you have a configure widgets button down here. So I'm going to click that. And in theory, my branded header, my lead form, and my legal footer are already ready to go. It's really just looking for my listing. I, don't really want people to contact me for this listing when they click through the ad because it's more from the Market Center perspective. You as an agent, you would want your information here, but I'm just going to click on the branded header. Oh my goodness. Give me 1 second, guys. And then for the header text, I'm just going to paste the address in there. I'm going to get rid of my headshot. And I think I have a KW logo in here, so I'm just going to put that in. Keep in mind, you guys, you want your information on here. I do not. Instead of name, I'm going to have Keller Williams-Fayetteville. The phone number is okay because that is the office number. And then the email address, if it has my name in it, I'm just going to change it to the front desk 485@kw.com email. So just the generic front desk email. I don't need 3 KW logos, so I'm just going to delete out that team logo. And then when I hit save and apply, it is going to get those changes to show. So this is what it is actually going to look like when they come into this page. Next is my listing. So right now I have no listing selected. I'm going to hit browse listings. And I find the best way is to search by MLS number. So I'm going to switch that. You can search by address. Keep in mind, you have that many listings to filter through. Even when I search by MLS number, a few options are going to pop up. So 5815 Woodhaven, that one is mine. So I'm going to select. And that has customized it. So it does default to the very first picture in the MLS. So if I save and apply, it's going to reflect those changes. So if you see, I always have an issue with this computer not loading the images, but oh, there it is. So they can scroll through all of them and see everything that's on the MLS, but it's just wanting you to choose that first initial picture. Most of the time I just leave it from what's on the listing. But if I wanted to change it, I would just choose from down here and I could save and apply. But I'm just going to leave it with that first one. Good. When they click through to this, everything that's on the MLS, they can see. So the description, details and features, they can see where it is on a map. And there's just a lot of information for them to take a look at. So now that I'm done with this listing widget, I'm going to go through to my third one, which is the lead form. All that I can change on this is the interested let's talk. So I'm just going to leave that as is. If you want to change it to something, you would do it here. You could say, schedule a showing, contact me for more info, whatever. And then the legal footer, I usually don't have to change anything in here. This all comes from my marketing profile. So just take a look through this, make sure you have all of the good things to stay in compliance. So I'm going to save and apply. And that, since I'm on the last widget, I see that Dean is on here. Dean, I borrowed your listing, but
that's fine. No, I'm glad to see it.
So I'm done with this. When you're done editing your landing page, you have up here, you can either save it. Keep in mind that is not going to make it active. If you want to make this a live link, we're going to publish. It's going to ask you if you want to update it. Yes, because we need this to be a live URL. When I come into my landing pages, you can see I click through, I can actually get to this website. So this is what, when they click on my ads, this is what it is going to take them to. So they can look at all the pictures, all of the details about it, what school it's in. They can contact me if they need to. And then I have all the stuff to keep you guys out of trouble. So this has to be toggled on. Otherwise, when I go to pull it in, and when I'm building out my ad, it is not going to be an option. So we want to make sure it is a live URL. So my landing page is done. So that's kind of the first little step you have before you need to build out your campaign. If you're not using a landing page, you obviously don't have to do this step. So at this point, you would start in the campaign applet. So I'm going to go there.
suggestion, Shelby. So
Okay.
make the landing page first and then go to campaign.
You don't have to. I do it first just so I can stay in the campaigns applet and I don't have to go back and forth. I just think it's a little bit easier. So I am just going to get started and hit create campaign up here. And then so you have social ad or search ad. I'm just going to go with social ad. That's Facebook, Twitter, Instagram. My campaign name is not the MLS number. I'm going to pull it from the address. Just so this is only for you, but just so you know, I like to remember what I did ads on. So I'm going to put that in there. You do have to choose a goal. This really doesn't make that much of a difference. The only thing being if you do advertise listing, which I'm going to do, it's going to ask you on the next page to pull in a listing from the MLS. You have the option to run it on either Facebook, Twitter, or Instagram. You can do all three. You can do two of the three, whatever works for you. I would definitely play around with this. I'm just doing it on Facebook. My way, and I'm going to hit create campaign. So that's what I'm talking about, where it's asking you to pull in a listing. So I'm going to toggle it onto all listings because right now it is only looking for only my listings. And when I search for address, so I have 24,000 results. Luckily, this is the first one, but that's kind of why I like to prefer to search by MLS number. It just narrows it down a little bit more. The 5815 Woodhaven, I'm going to select. It's going to think for a minute. So it does pull in as much as it can. You're limited to 250 characters. It's pulled in 220 from the description of the MLS. You know, if you want to use that, if they have a good description of the MLS, go for it. I usually write up my own thing. So I'm going to erase that. I always cheat so we're not sitting here waiting for me to come up with a description. But honestly, I think this is the hardest part of the ad, trying to decide what you want your text to be. So the cool thing about this one, it is a multiple floor level home. So it has, you know, a 3-bedroom main floor with 2 baths, and then basically an exact basement with a kitchenette. So this one was kind of advertised as like a multi-generation home or one that you could rent out the bottom floor to somebody. So I definitely want to kind of showcase that because it makes it special. I really just, when I'm doing this, I look at the description in the MLS or I look at the photos and I try to see what stands out about the house and I use that in my text. So 2 full baths and almost an exact duplicate basement with a kitchenette. It has wood fireplaces on each floor and it has a really nice kitchen. And then I say click learn more for photos. I was going to say for more information and photos. I ran out of room. Mine only have 250 characters, so I did kind of have to edit that a little bit. You do have the emoji option here. So if I, I put a heart eye emoji. You either like emojis or you don't. I really don't think anybody's super in between. I think I used them last week. So for this week, I'm just going to do the text. Keep in mind, I did not give away the address. I didn't talk about price. Don't give away too much here because you want to give this person a reason to click on learn more. They want to see pictures of this house and immediately be like, okay, well, I want to know how much it is, which leads them to click this learn more button. If you give away anything like that here, this house, I think, I don't remember the exact price of it. It's $290. It's right there. That might deter them if you say like, this house is $290 and they're like, wow, that's way too much, or wow, that's way too little. And then they don't want to interact with your ad. So you're missing out on capturing them as leads. Same thing if I were to put the address, they're just going to take that and they're going to Google it and look it up their own. So we want to give them a reason to click that learn more because that is what gives us the most leads. Your headline is going to be this bold text right here. So you are even further limited. You only have 25 characters. So that really does not leave, did not mean to do that. That really does not leave you a lot. So I'm just going to go with 6-bed, 3-bath home. And then that still only leaves me with what, 7. So really don't have a whole lot to work with there. Description. So it's only shown in some placements. No, I do not fully understand that. It just depends on where the ad shows up. Sometimes it shows up in the feed. It can show up in the sidebar. So depending on where it shows up for whoever's seeing it, they may not see this. So I am just going to put something like let KW Fayetteville find you the perfect home. So it's not detrimental to my ad if this person does not see it. So that, you know, it adds to it, but it doesn't take away from it if they don't get this ad in a place where that description is shown. So that's the hardest part of the ad. So I'm going to hit save. And then over here, I can see what it's going to look like on web. I can switch to mobile if I want, just so you can kind of get an idea of what it's going to look like. This computer kind of skews images a little bit, so if it looks kind of funny, it's probably, I don't know what is up with this computer. It always gives me issues. Next is media. So you do have the option, it pulls in, since I pulled in the listing, it's going to give me access to all of the images from the MLS. I can add up to 5 here. So if I want to add more, you can click this add more. And I have the entire gallery from the MLS. So I believe I wanted to use this first picture of this kitchen. And I'm going to preview and crop. So it tells you right here, if you're using multiple, they recommend using the square because it's going to turn it into a square anyways. That's why, like, this square, I like to go in and just kind of change the sizing so that way they get the full image. So that looks just a little bit better than when it was zoomed into basically just, you know, the window. And then that way they can see the whole kitchen, and it just makes it a little bit better. So definitely play around with it, play around with the sizing and the cropping. And I'm going to do one more. You can do up to 5. I'm going to stick it. I'll do one of the bathroom. Preview crop image. It's going to put it in a square, and I'm just going to knock the size down a little bit so I get that full image there. Save. And so you can scroll through this. This is what the ad will look like. So if I wanted to do more, I could easily go back through, pick another one. I'm going to stick with those 3. I think those are 3 good images. And I can rearrange them. So if I decide, you know, I want the bathroom to go before the kitchen, you can do that. Facebook is smart though, so it's going to try and figure out which of these pictures. So if they're on this kitchen more and clicking learn more through my ad, Facebook was going to start featuring that first, just because that's what's generating the most attention. So don't think too much into this. It's really, you know, it's not the hard part of the ad. The most important is definitely this text. So if you're going to kind of harp on something, harp on that. You do have to have your logo. So mine gets updated automatically, and you get to choose whether you want it on the left side or the right side. It really doesn't matter. I'm just going to do right. And I'm going to include my ownership statement. So I'm going to save. And then, so at this point, you know, the ad is built. I'm not going to mess any more with what it actually looks like. The rest is just Facebook and then the lead settings. So we're going to configure Facebook settings. My account is connected. So I'm going to select the page that I already have connected. And it's going to change it to what that actually looks like on Facebook. This right here is probably one of the most important questions of the ad. So Facebook lead generation form, if you are going for leads, you always want to use this. What this means, when they are looking at this ad and they click learn more, it's going to pop up a little box where they have to put their name, their phone number, and their email address and continue. And then when they hit continue, they go through to your landing page. So whatever they put in that block is what captures them as the lead. That's what gets added into your contacts. If you use site or landing page, They click this learn more button and they go directly to your page. And then at that point, the only way that I will capture them as a lead is if they leave a comment in my little contact box that I added in. I've made a lot of landing pages in my life, and I've had one person leave a comment in that box. So it's not a good way to get leads. But if you're doing an ad on, a just listed or an open house where you want as many eyes to see it as possible, this site or landing page might be a good option for you because Facebook is strictly going to go for views. I want leads, so I'm going to use the Facebook lead generation form. Your button label, you only have learn more, sign up, or apply now. Really, only one is going to fit in whatever ad you're doing, so just pick whichever one works best. Website URL, when they click this learn more and put in their info, this is where it is going to take them. So you could just put in, your website right here or wherever you want them to go. Since I created that landing page, I have the option to choose landing page. And then 5815 Woodhaven Circle is the one that I set up. So you could easily just do your agent site homepage or your download my app. Those are good options if you don't really want to go through creating a landing page. I'm going to choose the one that I made. I'm going to give it a minute to think. And then it is going to give me a green check mark. So that means it is good to go. Next is your audience. So this is who is going to see your ad. It is set automatically based on your location. Usually when you pull in a listing, so this one's Fayetteville, it's going to do 20 miles within that. Could just leave it here. You really don't have to do anything to this. But if you want to explore this further, you can toggle on use custom settings. So if you wanted to change the location or the miles, so if let's say I wanted to do 25, I can bump it up. If I only want to do 10, I can bump it down. Or okay, 15 is the max. I really don't know what the minimum, and then the max is 50. So we'll stick with 25. Expert targeting. If you hover over this, so it will expand your audience to include more people. I don't necessarily agree with that. What this is designed for, you can choose interests. So I don't know that renting is one, but so if I choose renting, it's going to be people who have shown interest in pages related to renting. So you could also do things. I always like to do things like Zillow, things that are related to housing. So, maybe mortgage loans, mortgage insurance, there's things like finance. Search things like luxury. Really, whatever you think of, you can search, and if nothing pops up, then I go from there. Real estate, real estate investing, creative real estate investing, and then save. So you do not have to do this. Most of the time I don't. I actually haven't done it in a while, so I'm going to play around and see what this does. Like emojis, you're kind of either for this or you're against it. Sometimes it makes a difference. Some people are dead set on that it makes a difference. Others, I don't really think it does. What it tries to do is put this ad in front of people who are most likely going to be interested in clicking on it. So it doesn't narrow down your audience into these people, but it helps narrow it down into such that it's getting in front of people who are most likely going to be interested in it. You do have a narrow audience button to where if you choose this, they have to be interested in those pages. So if I chose advertising and affiliate marketing, it is only going to put itself in front of people who like both of those things. So I don't know why you would want to narrow down your audience, but this is going to include people who match any of these, not all of them. So I'm going to save. I always like to point out, read through their advertising policies if you need to. So this has to be reviewed by Facebook. It's not a Keller Williams thing if your ad gets denied. Facebook does not like you to offend anybody. Don't offend renters. Don't call them stupid for renting. It doesn't really like talks about like alcohol, political things, anything like that. Use your best judgment. This is popping up on your business page, so just kind of keep that in mind. I'm going to save. And then next is lead settings. So unfortunately, I don't get to play with this because these are ran through the market center. But you can set these, whatever contacts come in, they will be automatically added into your account and they will be marked as leads. But you can auto tag them if you want. And you can assign them to smart plans. You just have to have the smart plan downloaded already. But one of the most basic ones is quarterly call. That'd be a good one to use if you're kind of trying to get familiar with smart plans. That just means that they will automatically add whoever comes in as leads to this plan, which gives you a notification to give them a call every 90 days. Definitely kind of shop around in here. There are also like Facebook lead smart plans where they're designed for things like this. You could definitely explore those in smart plans, and as long as you have them downloaded into your account, they'll show up as an option here, and it'll just automatically put them on. This is a relatively new thing, but it's huge just because it saves you some time. So I don't get to play with that. But if you need help playing with this, come see me. I'm going to save. And then last, which should be the easiest step, is the duration and budget. So the default is 10 days, $30. You do not have to stick with that. Whatever you want to do. Try and think about when you think people will be most active on Facebook. And they do take up to 24 hours to review, so kind of keep that in mind. You can't usually start them the same day. I run mine Monday through Friday, which gives me 4 full days, just because I'm not checking my account on Saturday and Sunday. You guys might be. So if that's an option for you, I would recommend doing them on Saturdays and Sundays. But I'm not, and I don't want to send Shauna leads on a Saturday, and I know she probably doesn't want to get leads on a Saturday. So whatever days you want to do, I just don't want the leads waiting, so that's why I just do Monday through Friday. Then your total campaign budget, I always do $20. You can do whatever you want. So that gives me 4 full days, $5 daily per channel. A channel being Facebook, Instagram, Twitter. So I'm going to save.
I'm sorry, would that be $5 for each social platform?
Yes. So
5 for Facebook, 5 for Twitter. Okay.
It'll do the math here. So if I had 2 channels, it would say like $2.50, $5. But I'm just running this on Facebook.
Okay.
So I'm going to save. And then take one last little look at my ad. Everything looks good. So when you are done and you are ready to publish it, you can save it as a draft. So if you're a little bit scared to publish it, you can do that and you can always come back to it. But I am going to publish. I'm going to ask for your card info. So if you put that in once, you're usually good to go. So hit create campaign, and it's going to think for a little bit because Command loves to think. Now it is going to take me back to my paid ads tab. It's going to be pending review. So what's going to happen is when it's when it's finished and it's running, it's going to turn green and it's going to say active. And then I can never scroll over. Okay. I have all of these figures over here. So I have my CPM, which means how much would I have had to spend for it to hit 1,000 views. So an impression is just a view. Cost per click, and then cost per lead captured. So that's what you're really focused on. I think this one was my best, where I had 1,543 impressions and I ended up with 23 leads at 87 cents a lead. So you cannot get leads for 87 cents practically anywhere else. You can see that this one I accidentally ran as the landing page instead of the lead generator or the lead capture form. So I have 15,000 impressions and no leads to show for it. So that's kind of the difference between the two. But that's not a bad thing if you're just going for impressions. You want this in front of as many people as possible. But if you want leads, that's kind of a bad thing. So I basically wasted $20 and didn't get any leads. You can see I've spent $0 so far. So even though my budget is $20, this one's getting farther and farther away. But this one right here, at $8.69 spent, I realized that it was just not doing very well at all. So I stopped it, and I got to use the rest of that money as a credit on my next ad, or my next few ads. So just because I put in $20, if it gets to day 2 of my day 4 and it is not doing well, I can stop it, and I'm not completely out all of that money. So kind of keep that in mind. That's my good example of that. And then your leads, so you can click on this and will always have a lead list of whatever you got from that ad. So it just keeps it kind of organized. And then you can always click on this. And you can see what your ad is going to look like. And you can see all of the different options for how the ad might appear. So mobile feed, mobile inserts, or whatever that is. Mobile banner. So this is just what it means. Okay, well, not that one. So you can click through these, and then you can see that's kind of what it means when that little description doesn't show in each ad placement. So, are there any questions?
When you scroll down to the one that said it's a landing page,